Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming back to day 3 of the workshop. Today we're going to talk about cell growth, cell division. We'll build a very simple model of a avascular tumor where the cells take up nutrient from the environment and grow in response to the nutrient. That's actually a pretty good basis for learning how to do much more complex models. We're going to have a discussion of chemotaxis and a demonstration of how to use that to do a simple model of actin polymerization and cell crawling. And then we're going to do a short introduction to network modeling inside of CompuCell. So it's a lot of material to cover today. As always, these sessions are being live streamed on YouTube and are recorded, so please be aware of that. I think people have managed the Zoom logistics by now. If we have any problems, please let us. We'll be doing some polling, so that's also going to be something that you'll see. I'm going to wait for the main session and do a quick poll on the hackathon. There was a very good suggestion yesterday that we should try to make as many of the demos as possible available for people to download. If you would like to do that, we have put the link to the downloads for the demos. Can't promise they're all there, but mostly they should be there. So if you want to take the time between now and the start of the main meeting to download the demos to your local machine. And if you're using Nanohub, you might want to use Jupyter to upload those demos as well. We will go through the uploads and downloads as we need to do it, but if people have got that set up beforehand, it will save time and probably some frustration. So again, today, cell properties and behaviors, cell division, avascular tumor simulation. Gilberto will be presenting his very nice demonstrations of cell migration. Primarily, we'll be building together a 2D cell migration demonstration, and then Gilberto will share and show you a 3D simulation using compartmental cells. Those are a little bit more complicated, so we won't be able to build it together, but it's a great framework to build off of. I want to call your attention to tomorrow in our second module, which will be devoted to hackathon work, and then the additional time we'll be using on how to load externally defined SPML models into CompuCell and run them. We had some great presentations of hackathon ideas yesterday. People who are interested in pursuing the hackathon but haven't got their own projects, and I'm going to do a quick poll on that now. I'd encourage you to please contact the people who are proposing projects. Again, we can reshare. Maybe Giuliano, you can reshare the links for the Slack channel for the hackathon, the Google Doc for the hackathon, and also the folder of hackathon ideas. There were 3 people who were not able to present yesterday. They're going to planning on presenting their 3 ideas tomorrow. Again, these hackathons tend to work best if we have teams. So don't be shy about asking to join a project that you find interesting. Nobody's required to. If you have your project and you have your team already, you can certainly say no to people joining. But I encourage you to take advantage of expertise if it's offered. On the hackathon, I would encourage people also, okay, so the schedule today, sorry again, is cell properties, behaviors, and cell division by Josh, the avascular tumor simulation using those things by Giuliano, Gilberto's talk on cell migration and chemotaxis, and then I'll be introducing the network models at the end of the day today. Again, the hackathon will be Saturday and Sunday. Please, as much as you can, to self-organize teams, We'll do our best to help out, but really the hackathon philosophy is self-organization. So please do that. And we would, I'd ask you to think about, especially for people who haven't done this kind of modeling before, do take some time, not that you have a lot of time outside of these classes, but take a lot of time to try to develop your hackathon ideas. In particular, I think it's important to try to identify what it is that you want to predict and be as specific as possible. I want to know the number of cells in the tumor as a function of time. I want to know how many cells differentiate. I want to know how big the rosettes are as a function of changing the contractility of the apical ring in my epithelium. Try to be as specific as possible, and then ask the question, what do you think you need to build a minimal model? Our hackathon is only going to be 2 days this year. That's actually a lot of effort from the people participating, but it's also not a lot of time. So you should try to be realistic about how complex a model you can build in those 2 days. Focus on trying to get something that can be a base model to be extended. And so one of the things to start thinking about is what are the minimal pieces that you need to build that model? What are the components? What kinds of cells? What do the cells have to do? How many cells do you need in the simulation? How complex does the model need to be? And of course, that's not so easy to do if you haven't worked with this kind of modeling before. But the more you can think about that, the better. Again, please try to see what you can do in terms of teaming. We're going to have the second session tomorrow open for discussion and teaming. If you'd like a breakout room in that session to have conversations, let us know. We can have an open pit discussion for a while, but probably teams will want to get together. And so if you let us know that you want a breakout room, we'll create one and allow people to move around that way. It's not that Zoom isn't the ideal way of doing that, but it's not a bad way to do it. So again, for this morning, I would encourage people to try to download the demos. If anybody has trouble with that, please let us know, and we'll do our best to help out. And then upload those files to the Nanohub Jupyter Notebooks, using Jupyter Notebooks or Tellurium. If you're going to run them on your local machine, once you've got it downloaded, you're okay with that. So those were the things that I wanted to cover just as introduction this morning. There were a couple of questions. There are 4 people who said that they need to present their project ideas for the hackathon. I knew 3 people who said that they needed to do so, but if there's a 4th person, please reach out to me and let me know if you upload your slide or how you want to present, and I'll do my best to help out.
Oh, it's me, and you can ignore it because I misunderstood the poll.
Oh, okay, fine. No worries. I just want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to present. I know 3 people were unable to do that yesterday. Okay, so with that, we can answer other questions. Are there any questions? There's a question, can I submit my hackathon slide now? If yes, so there is a link. Giuliano, could you share the link to put the hackathon slide up? The Zoom link for the Google Drive link and the Google Doc. We will repost that material. There were some other questions. There was a question, can we implement cell polarity in the Hamiltonian so that there is an energy that is dependent on the dot product of the cell polarity and some external vector? The answer is that you can in fact implement any additional energy functionals what are called plugins in CompuCell using the C++ extensions. And there is some documentation for that online. It's not extremely difficult, but it is a little bit more involved than doing a Python or CC3D ML scripting. And if you're interested in learning about that, I would reach out to TJ in particular. Giuliano also knows how to do plugin development. The key thing always with doing a plugin is to define what it is you're trying to accomplish with it, and make sure that it's designed in a way that's generally useful. We're delighted when people want to develop plugins. The documentation, there is a developer's manual on the CompuCell manuals page, but please do connect to TJ and Giuliano for the details on that. Were people able to find the links? I will post the links one more time for the Google Doc for the hackathon. So the Google Doc for the hackathon is here. Okay. And to upload to the hackathon slides. The directory is here. And please remind me, send me an email if you want. Make sure that you get included among the tomorrow so that you can present. So again, there's no requirement that people who've already present anymore, but I do want people to have the opportunity to discuss their projects, either as a group or in breakout. I'll try to join you on that. So are there any other questions in the 5 minutes we have remaining before we get started? I'm looking in the chat to see if there are any questions. There was a technical question about whether the yes, the link for the slide is what I just pasted. The slides. I guess the question, somebody said, okay, so there was a request for people to please put their lectures, the draft lectures for 3.1 and 3.2 into the student materials folders. Josh, could you take a minute to save your lecture?
Yes, I thought I have uploaded it, but I'll do it again.
Let me check. It's there. It's there. I see it. 3.1 is there. So if the person, Aaron, if you could check again, it looks to me like 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4 should all be in the student materials. I know Google Drive doesn't always sync instantaneously, so it can sometimes take some time. And of course, as we work through the day, we sometimes, or afterwards even, we sometimes catch mistakes and improve the slide deck. So please be patient if the slide deck that you get isn't exactly what shows up during the lecture. And we'll continue to work to try to make the video materials online. Please send the link to the online videos. So there are two sets of online videos. Giuliano, can you do that? In the student materials folder, there's a directory called videos that should have versions of all the modules, or at least most of them. There also are the YouTube the YouTube recordings of this. The YouTube recordings are complete, but they're not the most convenient thing in the world because they're the entire monolithic 7 hours. You want the live stream? Okay. Let me give you the live stream. Okay, got that. Any other logistical questions or issues before we get started? Were people able to find the link for the demos and do the downloads? Again, that was a very good suggestion to try to get that done. We won't assume that people have done it, so we'll walk through that again. But certainly make your life a little easier if you have that in advance. Okay, thank you. Yes, you should. If you're using Nanohub, please do upload the demos to your Nanohub account using Jupyter. That'll save a lot of headache later on.